Another day, another morning. Hey,
Back at it again, huh?
yeah,
Imagine being this consistent. So, water.
yes. Mm, I've heard of that.
Please sponsor me. Water, right?
Hmm.
Probably one of the most valuable resources and probably one of the most underrated resources on the planet, right?
I don't really think it's underrated. I
I
think
think
people
you're
kind of
underrated.
understand. I think
I
people
think you're
really,
underrated. Wait,
yeah,
no, I think you're
yeah.
overrated. Anyway,
There you
imagine what the planet would be like without it. And specifically, let's put it like this, because obviously if the planet didn't have water, we'd be gone in a little bit of time, right? What if all the oceans dried up tomorrow, let's say?
Oceans? Okay. So,
So let's say that the only water left on Earth, like for us to consume, obviously wouldn't be enough for everyone, but like could get to that point.
yeah.
Would be all the fresh water, rivers, lakes, whatever's like on land essentially,
Okay.
right? That would be the only water left on the planet, and all of the seawater, say tomorrow, just instantly gone. In your perspective, what do you think would happen first?
Right. Uh, well, instantly, right? I think there'd probably be a power struggle for the people that control the water. There would be some sort of like outrage from the public, right? You
Public or
know,
governments?
both. Because if tomorrow the beach and the ocean just dried out, that's kind of like a big scare to the public, right?
Okay.
So not just that, but also um, you definitely need a new way of kind of gathering water, or you need to like try to go out to another planet because of how many people there are right now and how many people are being born every day and all. The finite amount of just fresh water throughout this planet, I don't think would be enough to sustain for a very long time.
Definitely not, right? So the only what other sources of water are what glacial runoff, right? So like mountains, like water that comes
Hmm.
down melted from the mountains, and springs, so like underground water
Yeah, yeah.
reserves,
I mean, I think
and
that's all
what
kind of under the
lakes
same
and
topic.
rivers,
Yeah.
right? Yeah. So that would be it. Yeah. So basically we wouldn't have enough water for everyone, right?
I mean, that's to sum it up, I guess. But right. So the first thing I would kind of ask of you, what would you say would happen to all that land that's all of a sudden been dried up?
That would be that would be a mess.
Why do you think
And
so?
I'll tell you why, because um already up till now we've had countries and leaders fighting over land, right? We've had what, like thousands of years of just conquering and going around and taking people's land, making it like part of their own empire and whatnot, right?
Yeah.
Like obviously now we've like settled down with all that. There is still like annexes
I
happening,
mean,
but we're
there's
not going to
always
get
worse,
into that. Yeah.
right? Hmm.
So there would just be so much land up for grabs. I don't think the UN would be able to do
So you're thinking
anything.
this is a political thing?
I think I think it is definitely in the realm of politics, right? But I honestly think that the countries would just ego like and just try and take as much land as they can, like the most powerful ones, that is, right?
So we're kind of our first general broad topic here would be if it dried up, right? We're just looking at the land aspect, and you said there would be a lot of political war and just a lot of like land grabbing, essentially, right? But
Definitely
also,
if
yeah,
it
sorry.
would start World War III.
I think we kind of agree there. Like there would be a lot of clashing in between countries, and even in between like just cities or so, right? But also, I think like this is a hypothetical, right? Like all the water is gone in these
Oh
massive
yeah.
depths. Imagine the amount of cool that would be underneath. Like,
So isn't there the thing that the deeper that you get, the bigger the creatures are, right?
yeah,
Like there's a supermassive squid and whatnot like that, right?
yeah,
I think we'd find so much. Well, obviously they die out without having
yeah.
water,
They,
right? I think we'd find so many cool creatures out of that. I think,
yeah, but not. You think there'd be like runes and stuff? You think like
oh, definitely,
right? Because stuff that just dropped in
definitely.
like the Marina Trench or like that. But wouldn't that create like a new job line for explorers and stuff like that? Wouldn't that kind of like change the whole, not change it necessarily, just create a new job
So
of
under
people
the
that like dives?
assumption, so now I'm gonna add a little condition onto this, right? So under the assumption that obviously we as humans don't pull each other apart first and go straight into a war, right? Say that
I mean, if we survive, yeah.
capitalism trumps all that, right? Say that we
We
like,
basically live in a different society.
yeah, the businesses decide to take over that whole issue, right? And deal with privatizing whatever new resources that we could find, right? I honestly think you could find a whole new industry of excavators, right? I don't think that, because what archaeologists, they're mainly like academic based, right? You'd see archaeologists usually working for uh I think it's museums,
I'm not
or
really sure. I don't.
I would assume that it's either museums that they work for or government associations or universities. That I'm not knowledgeable on that topic either, like you, but I would
Yeah.
assume it's one of the three, right? I would think that there would be a lot more openings, or a lot more, like you said, like jobs that would be created in specifically like uh private, like just businesses would start going into that because they try and make as much cash on it as much like as possible while it's still ripe for the taking, right?
Right. Yeah, that's a very broad topic, right? Like, it's just that how much of land would be now completely deserted? You could just like get like, say you're excavating or something, you just like give him a little nudge. That guy's tumbling like 10,000 feet down the like bottom floor.
I definitely think we'd be able to manage getting to deep like
Floors. Oh yeah.
areas. I don't think that would be that much of an issue. Uh
Just all
right.
right. So then we've kind of looked at the like land side of it, right? But what
Mhm.
about the social side of it? What do you reckon would have to be done about population control? Because now there's a smaller, finite amount of like fresh water.
If we're talking about population control, that's a different topic to how you would ration out water, right?
It's
Because,
either or. How do you think socially like it would
okay,
go? Do you think they would ration it out? Do you think they would cut down? They would go like
oh, I
China and
think it
put
would be
like
a
imposions
grab.
on
I
it?
think I think people would run to the supermarket the same way that everyone was running after toilet paper when the
Yeah.
pandemic started, right? People would be running at supermarkets trying to get the water. They'd be like just filling up tanks on tanks just full of water. Water purifiers would just go out of stock, right? Because they like anything related to drinking water or purifying water, right? Would just completely go out of stock straight
So
away.
you're kind of
That'd be the
going
first thing.
into it would be like water would become like
It would be a
a
scarce resource.
this is kind of the third topic, right? Because we talked about land, we talk about, you know, the social aspect of it.
Hmm.
And let's say now that there is a finite amount of like water available, do you think how first of all, how long do you reckon the people could survive on that? Taking into consideration, right? There is like
Bro, I don't
technology.
know. I haven't specifically gone and measured how much water we
Yeah,
have
I
on
mean, you don't
land
even
or how
have to
much water we
guess.
have
It's kind of
underneath, right? I can't sit here and do the math for you. I can
hypotheticals. It's
I can
hypotheticals.
barely do the math in my math classes when I was in high school, bro. Like,
All right, then
you're
I'll do an
asking the wrong
hypothetical
person that question, right?
based on
But
an assumed rate and
okay,
assumed consumption. I think we'd be able to sustain ourselves. This is with technologies like being able to convert air into water, right? Like the air to water systems that are like being deployed here, like in the UN, Israeli, and all these places, right? There's still the amount of humidity that's in the air that we could use to convert into water prior to, just being drained away by salt, like the whole salt water and everything being drained away. So I think it could be sustained for 15 years now. So this is kind of where I was going to go, right? Just because we have a projective like period of like we could survive. So
Mhm.
I was saying, based on a hypothetical, right? This is all assumptions.
Okay,
These
so
these
this
are
is just
no fact.
arbitrary numbers. You're just saying that,
Yeah,
okay,
yeah,
we have different means of, okay, yeah. So 15 years we have in the tank.
right. So let's kind of structure this whole question into more of a moral dilemma, right?
Mhm.
So to simplify it, I would say the first of the two questions would be, would you rather, have 20 years that you could survive with the limited amount of water that you have as of currently, right?
Okay.
But there is a chance that you will make or create technology that would sustain you forever, right? Or this is where the moral side of it comes in.
Mhm.
Cut three-fourths of the population, and then you could sustain for 60 years, which is three times more than the first one, and
Three
have a
fourths. So we're killing off 75% of the population. So we're doing worse than Thanos did.
yes. So
Okay.
yeah, that's where the moral thing comes in, because you're gonna have to bear this on your own head, like mentally. You are the person responsible for this, but you have 60 years now to create a technology that could sustain the human race forever.
So it's either you have 20 years to potentially save everyone or 60 years to potentially save everyone.
But that also, the 20 years, people are going to keep reproducing, so that might go down. What would you do as a human, as the person in charge, as the person leading the human species to the next frontier? Would you say it's time? And
Without blinking an eye, I would go with the 60. Sorry, without skipping a heartbeat, I would go for the 60. I mean, it sure is like terrible to
that's
kill off
mentally, yeah.
billions of people.
And
And
you'd witness
obviously,
this.
it's not my point to be doing it. But if it was in my hands to potentially sustain our species, right? And it was put on me that we need to get this
You're a
done.
horrible person.
Thank you. Right?
You're a horrible person. You're
But I'll do
killing
what
off
needs to be done.
innocent people. Oh my god. Oh yeah, I definitely too. Yeah, I think.
Thank you. So you call me up first, and then I kill you
Yeah.
first.
You know what? I'd make it a personal thing before the water problem even gets announced. I'll fucking shoot you. By my own bare hand, you're going down. uh no, so yeah, so I think we're kind of horrible people for that. Or I wouldn't say we're horrible people. We would be
No,
leaders in that sense. We'd make a
because
decision no one else would.
so actually, I had this conversation with a buddy a couple month no a month ago, I think. We were just bouncing moral dilemmas off each other, and this topic came up where he was like, "It's not moral to like," because I know what he would have done in the situation. He would have been like, "Oh no, I'm not doing anything. Like we're sticking to the 20 years where no one dies
Yeah.
by my hands," right? His point was that I'd rather be moral in the present than the future, right? My thinking in this situation is that I'd rather be moral for the future, because imagine how many infinite amount of lives that you have saved with your decision of sacrificing that many people, right?
Well, it's a potential.
It's a potential, right? But
It's a higher chance.
that's what I mean, right? And the people that you do that do I'm sorry, the people that are left, right? They'll still like have their lives that they can spend for a lot
Living.
longer, right? Three
Yeah.
times longer, right?
Yeah. So kind of to wrap that up, I feel
I
like
mean, obviously, I wouldn't feel good about going through and
yeah,
slaughtering three quarters of the population. I'm not a
yeah,
sadist,
you'd
right?
mentally crack after that. You'd be
Yeah,
broken. Yeah.
it would be demolishing, but like it's something you have to get done in that situation,
Yeah.
right?
So
It's not an easy one.
oh yeah,
Definitely not
definitely
an
not.
easy one,
Oh yeah, definitely
right?
not.
But if you have the potential for infinite lives in the future to be saved versus what, 7 billion now, or
Yeah.
no, how three quarters
I don't
billion.
know the population right now.
I
Yeah.
can't do the math in my head right now. It's Way too late.
Population right now is something, so it's probably like 6.5 or something.
Close to 8 billion, no?
Yeah, it's probably yeah, around six.
So around 6 billion people you'd be killing off. Yeah, you're right.
Yeah, yeah. So
Damn.
either way, I think that would be something we don't wish to see in the future. I think that's kind of wrapping it up, don't you say? You
Yeah,
got anything else?
I think that's hit all the points that we could have talked about, at least in this time period. I definitely think that this is a topic that we can revisit. I
It's a
think
very
like
broad topic.
things,
Yeah.
because I mean we didn't even touch on, okay, there's so many people's livelihoods that have gone out the window. There's
And
things like,
businesses.
yeah, there's what, the climate is based off of all this. So
Yeah,
the entirety of the atmosphere would just be completely fucked, right?
yeah,
It's things like that, and then all the effects that that could potentially have on even on land things. Like we could easily revisit
yeah.
this topic and talk for hours. But anyway, yeah, if you guys enjoyed the video, please drop a like and comment on the video. Tell us what your thoughts are. Hit us up
If
on
you think we're
Instagram.
brutal or not, share your opinions. What would you have actually done in that moral dilemma? Would
Yeah,
you have
what
chosen to
would,
take 20 years?
absolutely, I'd love to know what you guys would have done. And yeah, we'll see you tomorrow.
Hopefully.